Welcome to the Empty Nest Kitchen, where we're finding fun in the kitchen now that the kids have flown the coop. I'm Christine Van Bloom, a cooking teacher with over 25 years of experience, here to show you tips, tricks, and joy in your kitchen, all while trying something new. Let's get cooking. I am here today with, I swear everything I say is one of my favorite people because I am so lucky to have amazing, wonderful, strong, resilient women in my life. I want to say hello to Kelly Beins.
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me here today.
Kelly, I'm so excited to have you. Kelly is an occupational therapist.
Yep.
And Kelly and I have known each other for years and years and years, ever since her daughter and my daughter were on a soccer field together when they were 4 and 5. And we had met then, and several years ago, pre-pandemic. Kelly, don't you feel like you have to split your life now into pre-pandemic?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And it's 4 years now.
Yeah. But that shows how significant it was. And here we are. So happy to be post.
We are lucky. We are certainly lucky. So, I mean, it's probably 6 or 7 years ago, maybe 7, that I decided I wanted to bring a couple of women that I knew but didn't maybe know that well into a mastermind group. And we called it our Master Classy.
Yep. Yeah.
Which was so funny. And the three of us were in very different fields.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But gave tremendous support, and seriously, one of my proudest things.
Yeah, it should be. It changed the way I functioned, really, in my work, work and life. It was just so personally and professionally such a great thing. So I'll be forever grateful you invited me.
Oh my gosh. I didn't mean it that way. Well, okay, listen. So you said, when I said, Kelly, I want you to be a guest on the podcast, you said, what would I talk about? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, resilience, because you, to me, are the picture of resilience. And it's not actually pandemic related.
Oh, that's huge. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Kelly, tell me a little about what you do now.
Yeah. So now I still am an occupational therapist, but I am using my skills in more of a consulting role. I don't work directly with clients anymore. I support providers. And so I work as my official title is a clinical solutions manager. And I work, it sounds really important, right?
I love titles. I love titles.
I went through this phase where I was like, titles are everything. And then I changed to, I don't care what title I have. And now I'm like, this is an accurate title and it has to represent what we do. So it makes sense to other people. And so that's what I do. I use all my clinical knowledge to put together solutions for different organizations and solutions using the programs at Unite Health. And so I work with Unite Health and support their teams and their team working with large organizations. And so I support other providers and the team of people at Unite Health. And it's just great.
That is so cool. But this is where I think it's really interesting because I want to talk about how we got there. So when I first met you, you were practicing occupational therapist, like all those years ago. And then you made the move to open your own practice, which is a big, bold, scary move, right?
Yes. And I didn't intend to open my own practice. So I think I didn't really get scared because I did it in little gradual ways. I did it in a way that made it safe and comfortable and just kind of followed each little step to do it. So I didn't feel scared doing it. It felt like the right step.
That's it, right? It feels like the right thing when you are doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So you end up opening your practice. You move, you start in a downtown area, and then you need more space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, again, it was like, what's the right step? And I've always followed my gut on things and kind of figured things out as I went. And sometimes that made things harder because you learn the hard way instead of
Goodness,
learning from
yes.
others' mistakes. But I didn't really know a lot of people in private practice at that time. So I just kind of surrounded myself with other people that I could partner with. And I was having success individually as a private provider and more referrals because there was a need in the community. And so, yeah, I took a step to find a bigger space that would allow me to partner with other people in private practice, and rented to a couple and also hired a couple. And so it just kind of gradually grew from there, and then moved again because we outgrew that space. So it just organically evolved over time. It was great.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing, the organic changes,
Yeah.
right? That become bigger and you grow and you grow.
Yeah.
And it, you had no lack of clients.
No, the need is huge. Working with kids who have special needs and supporting all ages, but all types of kids and families. I specialized in sensory processing. That's sensory integration, and combining that with mental health services is a real gap and a real need. And it spans all diagnostic areas because it's about the nervous system and how we function in the world. So no lack of need because all kids and all people have nervous systems.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we started pairing up, you had been in your space not too long.
Mhm.
And I remember you weren't paying yourself,
Correct. Yep.
right?
Big
And I
mistake.
know I wish you guys could see because Kelly just grimaced, right? And this is actually a natural fact of entrepreneurism, right?
Mhm.
So I do want to point out here too that you have 2 daughters
Mhm.
and a lovely husband,
Thank you.
and your daughters are growing,
Yes.
right? And they're getting ready to fly the coop. They're
Yep.
getting ready
One
to
is fully flown. Yeah.
yeah, yes, right now. So as all of this is happening, your daughters are, I kind of call it aging out of your
Mhm.
house, right?
Mhm.
They're getting ready to go. So you have this deep emotional thing happening with your wonderful kids.
Mhm.
And then you have this practice. And I remember being with you when you found out that you were going to be able to accept insurance.
Mhm.
And I remember there might have been champagne. Okay, it was us, so it's probably Prosecco.
Yes.
And you were so thrilled because that was gonna help. But ultimately, you had to close your practice.
I
Or
did.
I think you sold it.
I did sell it. Yes. I
Yeah,
chose to close it. We all had to choose to close during COVID.
right,
In that was a scary time for everybody, right?
right.
And because we had just expanded in that last year, staffing had changed, the bills were way higher. Financially, things were unstable.
Yeah,
And I had just hired because of the expansion. And so I was leveraged financially, truth be told.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's scary in business, right?
Gosh, yeah.
It, so things felt rather unstable and in transition at that time. And then COVID hit, which meant that some of my staff left. So even though we were successful at converting to telehealth, some of the staff had left, which meant we didn't have as many people. A big chunk of parents weren't willing to convert to telehealth because it was brand
Sure.
new. It was brand new for
Yeah.
everybody. And I get it. Absolutely get it. So we lost clients. I lost staff trying to figure out how to keep things going, and realized, looking back, that it just wasn't going to be looking back and looking ahead, it wasn't going to be possible.
I remember. I remember with this.
Yeah.
So you go through this process
Mhm.
and it's super painful. It feels like you're dying.
Absolutely. Yep.
But, and this is why I wanted to have you on the show. I love saying have you on the show. Like, like I know what I'm doing
I
here.
love hearing it.
But this is why I wanted to have you on, because you built the practice. You were never making money with it, because that's just, they tell you should be making money, you should be paying yourself. And it's like, okay, I'm just going further into debt to pay myself. That's fine. But then you close the practice.
Yeah.
And like I said, like a death, you can't, we've both lost people close to us. So to equate it with a death, I'm not trying to be light, but you can't understand until you close a business that you have poured everything into. It's really, it's devastating.
It is devastating. And, I was thinking through it, like, I didn't know what you were going to ask me coming on today, right? So in my head, I was thinking, well, she said resilience, but what does that mean to me? And
I love that.
Why would she invite me on? And I was thinking through, and in my business, I did make money, and then I expanded. So I didn't.
Right.
And so there was this real ebb and flow, and the growth, personal growth that happens through owning your own business. And like, that's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
And so
wonderful.
Oh, wonderful. I wouldn't trade it.
But wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. And I think that's what registered for me when I thought of resilience related to my work life, is that I always said, you can't separate personal and work. And my husband, who is my primary support, right, always said, you got it. That's just work. It's just work. And when you're an entrepreneur and it's your own business, it's never just work.
It's never, Kelly,
ever.
It's never. Owning your own business, it's in you through every cell in your body.
Yeah, because nobody cares like you will, right? And so it is a loss, like a death, when you lose that, even when there's agency over it. And somebody said to me very shortly after I made the decision, and then sold it successfully. So that's one of my proudest things.
Oh my gosh, heck yeah.
But they said to me, well, this is what you wanted. And I was so shocked at hearing that, because it isn't what I wanted. Ultimately, yes, I was looking ahead to my future, and I didn't want to own a business the rest of my life. And the stress of growing and expanding. And, I had made the decision that at the end of this lease, if things look this stressful, this is not the life that I need or want. But nobody would choose death. Nobody would choose a loss like that.
Right.
Some would, right, given the scenarios, but it's just, it is a loss, and you have to go through different hard things.
You have to go through hard things. So there's this very cliche sentence that I've been seeing, right, in all the pretty little memes, and they put clouds behind it, and it's something like it's something like, you have survived 100% of your bad days, right? And listen, I love a cliche, girlfriend. Give it to me all day. I practically have that tattooed on my
100%.
tushy, because it's like you're in this phase of life. Everything is changing. Your kids are going off. Now, you and I are blessed with wonderful husbands and a fantastic support system, all of that good stuff. But we build these things and we're proud, right? We're proud.
Absolutely.
Let's not diminish it.
Absolutely.
We worked our tuchus off.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
I loved owning a business. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I loved it. And then we lose it. And, that whole, again, an overplayed cliche, phoenix rising from the ashes. But you dusted yourself off. Yeah. You took a couple of deep breaths, and now you're working with a fantastic company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Supporting their providers. So you've been able to step away from the day-to-day patient interaction.
Yeah.
Because you were ready to grow past that as well.
Yeah.
You had done that for years and years.
Yes.
How do you feel today? How do you feel now?
Ooh, that's a big question.
It is a big question.
It still depends on the day.
Mm.
And I think that's the other lesson that I'm realizing at this phase of life, and grateful for the wisdom that comes with this age. I wish I could grab that on the hard days. But I mean, you joke about the memes, but I looked up because I've got like 3 of them across my wall right now. And so today, how I feel, one of them says, I can and I will.
Oh.
And it's like cute, pretty. One of my close longtime friends, Courtney Prawl, put that together. She's a local artist here.
Oh, she's so talented.
So talented. She's another one that like really wonderful, great women that I've been fortunate to be surrounded by. But I can and I will is the one that lands for me today, because even this role that I'm in now has been an evolution. And when I started with this company, I was still doing direct service, and I was still connected to the OT specific mentorship program I was building, and, lots of pieces. And gradually the need at this company grew. So I again had to decide, what am I letting go of? What should I be letting go of? Because I'm feeling called in this area. And again, trying to pay attention to what's the right next step. And this whole piece of, I've put so much into this transition, and I thought I had transitioned because I moved into my business in a new way as a consultant. And again, I'm like, seriously, universe, I have to let go again? Yeah. And so I let go of my business. My kids are moving, they're leaving, like all of this letting go, and some really hard family losses, and really, all this loss feeling.
I think we're in this season of loss.
Yes, it's true.
I think that when we're in the middle, I don't want to say middle age, but when we're at this age, I think this is a season of loss when I always refer to it as, will they say it was a tragic death, or will they say, oh, we're sorry she's gone, right? Because she was older. And like when my grandmother died, who was 101, bless her heart, right? She was fantastic. And I was sad that she passed because she was a spitfire. She was so cool, but she was 101.
Yes.
So I had this understanding. So sorry,
100%.
I'm interrupting your thought. Because,
it's all there. Yeah, it's true. And so my biggest thing now in this position with work and with life, because it's all there, is how do we create space for both? And I can and I will. Is I can. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but I will. And what do I need to make that possible? And to me, that's resilience. That's really what makes us resilient, is how do we get what we need as we go through the hard, so that we can.
Goodness, Kelly, you.
I know.
In my head, I'm thinking, I won't, and I'll nap on the couch.
Oh, I do that too. Not enough napping.
It's balance.
Yeah,
it's a balance. Yeah. That's like you hold a donut in each hand, and what do you call that? A balanced diet, right?
It's so true. The irony too, as you say, like that balance piece, the company I work for now, which is, I believe in full circle and the woo-woo and all of that. And
woo it up.
And I have a strong faith, that comes in. And so the company I'm with now, it's like everything's coming full circle, because their mission is to build resilience in the world. Because our programs are nervous system regulating tools and programs for therapists. And so it's fascinating to me how I ended up in this place and this position, because now I get to personally and professionally align my life. And it's challenging me to do that.
You have such a positive mindset.
No.
And I know it's not always that way, because I've known you for a long time. Like, I get that. We're doing the
You've seen me in those
happy,
places.
Joy. Yeah, of course. We all have. Yeah. But I think mindset, everybody out there, I'll talk to you now about mindset and all of that. And I have always been a woo resistor, right? I have always been like, whatever, please. And now I'm like, I'm not quite full woo, but I'm dabbling
Mhm.
in the woo right now. And it's,
Yeah.
gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. There's something there. There's something there for sure. And it's supportive.
It is.
Mhm.
It is. And, I'm going to bring that back to something
Yeah.
that we talked about the last time we had dinner. And Kelly and I have a dinner on the books, which
Yay.
I'm very excited about because we have such a good time.
Yeah. We
Sometimes
do.
too good of a time, but we have a good time. And I remember you said, I really need to focus in on my female friendships. And I really am, I don't think you used the word craving, but
Mhm.
craving that connection.
Mhm.
And I think that's another thing at our age
Mhm.
that I think. So you have people you've been friends with for years and years and years and years, right? Like the kid friends,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The parents of the kids
Yeah.
that your kids hung out with, and you were at the activities, and then that slowly peels off a little as your
Yeah.
kids move on, and some might hang, but like I'm still close friends with, I think, close friends with one person from that
Mm.
kid phase,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then I'm very fortunate. I have absolutely wonderful women around.
Ditto. Yeah.
But I do think, finding new friends and
Yeah.
getting out there, because I won't and I'll nap on the couch can be, end of the day,
Yes.
what are you gonna do? Because again,
Exactly.
9 o'clock, I am in bed snoring and
Yes.
drooling, right?
Yeah. It's the energy, and our lives are so different now without our
Yeah.
kids guiding the day to day, that
Yeah.
it's an opportunity and it's exciting and it's a relief in some ways, but it
Oh my
also
gosh, it is a
it's
relief.
a relief, like the
Yeah.
pressure and the weight and the stress of, and it's not all gone. Now it's big life stuff that they need us for.
Oh, yeah.
But the day to day, how we structure ourselves, that, and as an OT, the occupation of parenting is different now. And that's great. But yeah, we're different people as a result, and
Yeah.
needing to structure that connection very mindfully and intentionally is what I'm feeling in this phase.
Yeah. I totally hear you. And you always love your kids. I'm not saying that, but you get a little break here and there.
Mhm.
And I feel like now that we're empty nesters, because like you said, your oldest is grown and flown, your youngest is in school, and she's in school far away. She's halfway
Yeah.
across the country,
Yep. Yep.
so now we have all this time. There's time
There is
because
time.
I'm not going to work 16 hours a day.
Not anymore.
I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, but I
Yeah.
don't have any problem doing nothing from after lunch until 7:30 or something, when I'll pull out the laptop and I'll edit an episode, or I'll develop some menus, or I'll do something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
But I know that you are a lustful traveler. I know you, right? I know you love to travel.
The way I say it is I'm learning to love it, because it's not my
Oh.
nature, it's my husband's nature. And so
Oh.
we have engaged in a lot of travel, and I'm learning about travel and how to make that fit for me. Because for him, he'd travel every day of his life across every nook and cranny, big, small, anywhere. And so that's something we've been navigating as a couple. And he doesn't get why it's an effort for me sometimes. And I don't get how
Oh.
he doesn't get tired.
That's how we are. That's how we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring up something painful,
Okay.
but I remember
It's
running
okay. I'm
into
resilient.
you. I remember running into you and your husband at the local Starbucks the morning you were supposed to be leaving for, I think, Paris,
Yes.
but you were sitting at Starbucks. And I said, Kelly, why are you sitting at Starbucks when I thought you were supposed to be in Paris? And what had happened?
Well, we had already been a couple of years prior, and that was the first international big trip that we took
Okay.
together. And both of us had done little things prior in our lives, but that was our first big international couples trip. And we had such a great time. that we wanted to take our girls and start showing them and teaching them about the world. And so we planned this big trip, and we got to the airport, and we were supposed to go to Paris for 5 days over the long weekend, and then go to Belgium and Holland.
Right.
And so we got to the airport, and we're checking in, and we couldn't check in. Something on the passport wasn't working. And I assumed it was because I was Canadian or the girls had dual at that time. I'm now a dual, but at that time I was just Canadian. And we called a guy over to help us check in. He said, "Oh, this is because the passport's going to expire." I was like, "What? Going to expire?" And sure enough, one of our girls, or both of them, I don't remember, their passports were going to expire in under 90 days. And I didn't know that rule that you needed.
I didn't know that rule.
Well, we learned the hard way. And he said, "You can go, but your daughters will have to stay." And I'm like, "There's no way we're doing that." Like,
right.
We're at Dulles Airport, and one of them couldn't drive yet. Like,
and wasn't this one like a Friday?
It was a
Friday. Or a Saturday.
It was a Friday after, good memory, Friday afternoon at like 5. We were checking in at 3. And so we had to come home. And we missed that part of our trip. We had to go to the embassy on Monday morning, first thing.
Yeah. And that's the kicker to me. That you lose the whole weekend.
Yes. So yeah, it was awful. We lost. It was awful. And how fortunate are we? Oh, big, like,
yes,
we still have
live a life of privilege. Yes. And we know that. We are aware.
And that was a mom challenge for me at the time.
Yeah.
I realized my husband Danny went to deal with figuring out what we needed. Well, I was literally in the middle, and this is where moms live, right? My husband was at the counter. The girls were over near the window with the luggage, and I was sorting through something, maybe passports. And I realized, like, how we show up right now is part of the lesson for them. And I went over
you're
there.
So good.
It's divine intervention in them. I was not feeling that. And my brain was spinning. And so I went over to the girls and I said, "Okay, let's figure it out. And let's see what we can do to help Dad figure out what he needs." And so I'm really proud of us at that point, because we also then all came home really like, down, frustrated and angry, and like in disbelief that we were actually coming home instead of being on a plane. And I decided to try and make some lightness there. And so we went to Starbucks the next morning, Danny and I, before the girls got up, just as a way to like keep our heads together.
Yes.
And I spent the weekend taking pictures of things that were where we were supposed to be. Like when you came over to see us, there was a picture on the wall. Like Starbucks at the time had these like,
I remember this
or like landscape pictures. So I took a picture of that landscape, and I was like, is this the mountains of whatever, or I don't even remember. And there was a church. There was a church across the street at St. Paul's. It's a Greek church, and I took a picture of that church, and I was like, "Is this Notre Dame?" Nope, it is St. Paul's Church in Frederick, Maryland. And then the creek in Baker Park. Is this the Seine? Nope, this is Earl Creek. Everywhere we went.
What a good attitude.
Well, thank you. And it was I was trying to keep myself cheered up, because it was not a happy time.
It was sad. Yeah, it was sad. And I remember the attitude coming off of both of you, and there was frustration.
Oh, yeah.
But there was lightness and humor. And that, I mean, I don't know if I could have handled it that way.
I don't know how we handled it that way, but I am proud of us, and it did make it more manageable. And I really was in mom mode at that point. I really felt, how do I need to show up for the girls right now and get us through until Monday and get to that embassy. And thankfully also shout out to, I forget her name now, but the woman at the post office on Saturday, she was amazing getting us our pictures, and we took pictures there. And like, we just tried to really keep that part of our family adventure. And it was, and we made it to the plane. We were the last people out of the embassy or the passport office that day. And everybody there, like the security guard at the door was like, go, go, go. You have a plane to catch. And so we raced down the highway to the airport and literally made it in the nick of time for our flight. And it's it's good memories now, regardless. It wasn't Paris,
and
but
that's the resilience. That's the resilience, because we are all going to go through tough times.
Yeah.
Right? And it's something I really appreciate about you. I seriously just got little goosebumps thinking about you and all of that. All right, before we go, this is my question to ask.
Okay.
All right, because I know you are a food lover as well.
Yes,
and good wine. You like a good red wine.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like a good white wine.
Yes. Well, I don't turn that away.
I'm really into Sancerre right now, which is, I believe, kind of a derivative of a Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
But it's you either alone or with your husband for dinner. What are you having on a regular weeknight?
Well, last night we had steak and a nice Cabernet.
Okay, I literally had a bowl of mashed potatoes for dinner. That's why I just wanted mashed potatoes, and I turned to John. I was like, I'm just making mashed potatoes. There's some gnocchi in the fridge if you want it. He was like, mashed potatoes would be great. And then he ate most of the mashed potatoes. I was very upset because,
the night before we had crudité that was left over from a family birthday celebration with hummus. Like, let's keep it real.
We run the gamut.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love that you had like a nice dinner last night. That's so good.
Yeah, that's part of our empty nesting. Like we're allowing ourselves some of those treats on a weeknight instead of waiting for special occasions. Because now,
I have come back into cooking. It's one of the reasons I'm doing Empty Nest Kitchen, because when you cook professionally, a lot of people. Here's the dirty little secret of the culinary world. When you cook professionally in whatever capacity, if you're not eating over the garbage can, I can't tell you how many meals I've had over the garbage can at work, or getting fast food. I remember in culinary school walking down 2nd Avenue in Manhattan, my chef. It was one of my other students, and we were walking with our chef because he was the greatest. He was so cool. Chef Mike. And I said, "Oh, Chef Mike, do you just eat the best food all the time?" And he said, "I eat Chinese food and McDonald's." And he worked at Le Cote Basque, which everybody should know if they watched Truman Capote and the Swans, because Le Cote was where it all went down.
That's awesome.
He worked there. And I was like, what? He's like, oh, yeah, you get off at 11 o'clock. You don't want anything. You're stopping and getting whatever you can get.
I get it. It's you doing it all day.
Yeah. But now I'm really enjoying mashed potato dinner aside. I really am enjoying like quick meals, but that are still really, really good. I think it's important.
Yep, absolutely. And that's a balance too, right? Like mashed potatoes are a treat.
Yes. They really are.
I don't have a family to feed now, so I can eat mashed potatoes for dinner if I want to.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Kelly, you are just a darn delight. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks so much for having me, and for it just, makes me feel happy too. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm sure I'll see you soon next week for dinner.
Absolutely.
But thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing your story. It's not easy to share sometimes.
Thank you.
So
appreciate that.
All right. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.